Greetings everyone, and thank you for joining me in this wonderful Sunday afternoon. Here's a look at my newest project, the Tiger 500 PC. Here's the parts that I took out of this one. You got a couple of CDR and CDRWs. One actually reads zip, which is the type of medium I haven't seen in a long time. Here's a look at the rear of the motherboard. It's got a couple of PCI cards. Here are a couple more PCI slots. I took some of the parts out of here to add to the new computer that I was supposed to make. Here's a look at the motherboard. I don't know too much about the Tiger 500 or the motherboard, but I believe this company, TechRam, is the one that created it. For the time, I think they were probably the best computer hardware that you could find. This was made around 1999, 1998, maybe even 2000. But for the time, it's one of the most advanced, most powerful PCs that you can get, usually used for big commercial type projects. Here's a look at the inside of the case for the refurbished part. I used my old Pentium 3 parts from my HP Pavilion 87555C. Here's a look at the CPU. No fan. It kind of just has that cooling vent. Here's a look at some of the PCI slots. I did use some of the original parts that I found with this Tiger 500 computer. It's definitely an Intel board that you can see right there. Here's another chip on the Intel board, and as you can see, it's been cleaned thoroughly because I found a lot of dust bunnies and stuff like that on that case, so I cleaned it all up. And I also cleaned the motherboard, and as you saw the other video, I actually hadn't cleaned it. Here's the hard drive that I'm using. It's the original one from that HP Pavilion. And here's some more hardware from that HP Pavilion. You got the original DVD-ROM, the original CDRW burner. Here's a look at my old computer, and all that hardware went into the new one. The plan is to install Ubuntu 12.05 LTS onto this computer because it's an operating system that'll work well with old computers, hopefully. Here is the color scheme for that new setup. I got an original pew or bone white sort of tone to the hardware. This computer screen I actually picked up for a pretty decent price, only $5, and it came with a keyboard, so that was actually a pretty good deal. Here's a printer that I found for it, and here's the tower. Nothing much to say about it. It's pretty big. I should get pretty good ventilation on it once I add a couple more fans. I'm booting Microsoft Windows Millennium Edition, which is what came with my computer originally. I didn't have any of the startup discs or the boot discs, so this is more or less my only copy of it. I have heard about unofficial updates online, but I haven't tried any of those. But I kind of want to keep the integrity of the original. This is a snapshot of what it looked like when I first booted it. This computer hadn't been booted since 2003, so this is a look at it without any updates. Microsoft stopped supporting it as of 2005, 2006, I don't remember. As you can see why it was pretty much the worst operating systems that Microsoft ever made. I just booted the computer and opened up the Internet Explorer, and it's not working. As you can see, it's kind of frozen, and now it's giving me an error sign telling me that there's other programs running, which I don't get because I only opened up Internet Explorer. So it looks like I might have to turn it off manually, which is usually the case for this computer. When I first had it, got a lot of problems with that Millennium Edition. So I will turn it off manually. This screen, I think I got a pretty good deal. It's only $5 with the keyboard, and it matched perfectly with the whole color scheme of the whole setup. Gives it that 90s feel that's nostalgic at this point, or maybe in another 10 years. Here's the startup screen. The reason I started it up again is just to show you more or less how it starts up. Like I said, this was Microsoft's most inferior product in my opinion. I tried Windows 2000 in college and it worked much better than this operating system, so I wish they would have put this computer out. And on top of everything else, it has the audacity of having you sit through checking the whole hard drive to make sure there's no damaged modules or whatnot. This was kind of like one of the reasons why I just can't stand this operating systems. But the reason I keep the integrity of the original hard drive is just for nostalgia strictly. I mean, this was my first PC, so I'm keeping it for posterity. I'm just gonna go ahead and shut this thing down because there's no point trying to open any of the apps in it. It's probably gonna take forever to open anything, so I'm better off just shutting it down. Millennium Edition had a weird giggling sound when you turned off the computer. I don't know if you can hear it there. I'm shutting it down. I don't know if you heard it or not, but anyhow, this is what I'm up against. Now, the reason why I started this project is, number one, I needed a computer for the garage. This one will be perfect with Ubuntu because Ubuntu, you can't really run anything video on it. It doesn't have flash. However, it does use Microsoft Office, so you will be able to type in some papers, being that I'm still working towards my master's, and for maybe some minor projects. I will, however, continue working on this until I get it up and running. It took me quite a while because the whole thing would not start up. I had a bunch of hard drives that my father-in-law had. This computer I actually found in the garage as I was cleaning it up, and I remember earlier I tried starting it up and it wouldn't work. I checked the power supply. Power supply worked fine. I tried the PCI slots, any of the accessories that might be faulty. I tried those out. They work perfectly well. So my best opinion or my best guess would be that the motherboard doesn't work at all. I looked online to see if I can find a replacement, and they run between $200 to $299, which I think is just too much. I don't know what kind of abilities this computer had, but I do know that what I put in there more or less is the same type of chip that the original one had, so I'm not too worried about it working slower or faster. I did notice that on the old motherboard it did have a couple more PCI slots and two slots that I'm not quite aware what their function is, but I think that the Pentium 3 in there with that Ubuntu software might just work fine. I don't know yet, but I will definitely post an update on how that worked out. I guess that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to give you an update as soon as possible. Thank you.